think about.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Price.
Present.
Ballard.
Here.
Neal.
Present.
Wilson.
By a roll of 7 present, do we have a quorum? Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I am entertaining a motion to amend the agenda, moving item 9 to item 7, item 7 to item 8, and item 8 to item 9.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We have amended the agenda. Our first item on the agenda is a report about the airport tarmac fire damage. Is Mr. Lee here where he can explain that Mr. Lee, who knows all, sees all, does all?
No. But actually, Seth is here if we have anything specific questions as it relates probably to the event. But as just a quick summary, there was a fire. I think we actually misdated that. I think it was right at the end of July 2025, but we compiled that here in August of 2025. There was a fire of a private aircraft. That fire did cause some damage to the tarmac area there, and we've produced then a cost breakdown for the removal of the damaged area, for preparation of the subgrade, and then for replacement of the asphalt. And that total cost is $24,887.50. This is a item that is covered, is to be covered by the insurance provider for that aircraft. And they have, at the time of printing this, we had noticed them and hadn't heard confirmation back, but we did receive confirmation before the meeting that they are agreeable on that price, and will be issuing us the documentation to receive that funding. So we just wanted the board, it's going to add on, just as for a point of clarity, how is it going to happen? It's going to add on to our work here preparing for our street overlay for APAC when they come in here in the next 2 weeks or so. They'll be in to do the overlay in the city at large, and they will add this as part of the total project. We have another repair out at the airport as well that we'll do as they mobilize to that area also. But it's not, ultimately it's a pass-through cost, but we wanted, it's still a significant cost, but wanted the board to be aware of it. So,
Questions for Mr. Lee?
Quick question. So are we
Mr. Wilson.
Okay. Is this going to be kind of moved to the forward of the street inlay stuff, or I'm guessing because, I mean, Seth, maybe you can answer this one. Sorry.
yeah.
Is this slowing down traffic at the airport? Is this like in a big main?
They have another access point. I'll let Seth could speak more specifically,
Sure.
but that's a question I, pressed in with the guys. It seems there's going to be another access. But Seth, do you want to add anything to that? They should be everybody should be able to access, except for the one hangar, right? That the plane is lost at this point. You know, has not been replaced. So.
Yeah, that's correct. There's multiple access points, so ingress and egress.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Further questions, comments? Thank you, Mr. Lee. Chief Johns, would you want to talk to us about dangerous intersection, please?
If I could just kind of set the stage here, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
There was a request by the board to have a MoDOT representative at some point. We are still in pursuit of that. We are meeting with somebody next week, and they are going to be available in an October meeting
Okay.
to meet with the board.
Okay.
But in preparation for that, we thought this might be kind of a good prep. So we asked Chief Johns and his staff to put together some data on some accident
Okay.
intersections in town.
Thank you. Go ahead, Chief Johns.
Good evening. What we've got in front of you, you've got copies of it, and it looks like we've got one up on the screens. We put together some rough numbers. These are very close to accurate, and I say that there may be some minor number changes of one or two that got missed somewhere. Reason for that is the system that we use for cataloging all this. It's got two different places for locations. It's got the on location and cross location. And so we spent, there's about 5 of us that spent several hours together all working on this to make sure that we didn't miss one. In other words, something like 32 at, let's do like 83 in Aldrich. That can look a lot of different ways in the system, unfortunately. Sometimes it says 83 in Aldrich, sometimes it's Aldrich and 83, sometimes it's South Springfield and and Aldrich and that sort of thing. So we went through, and I believe we found all of the computations and got a very, very, very close estimate as to what we've got. So on your sheets in front of you, we broke it down by year. We went through the past 5 years. 2021, 277 total accidents. 83 in Aldrich was number 1. With the Walmart Commercial Drive, and 83 with number 2. The 32 Route D was number 3 in 2021, and 2020. And if I don't say on this little summary that there was a fatality, there was not any fatalities that particular year. 2022, we had 256 total accidents. There were 2 fatalities. One was on the highway out on 13, and then one was at 83 in Albany, or Springfield and Albany. The top 3 there were the 83 in Aldrich, 83 in Mount Gilead, and then 83 in Cambridge were the top 3 in 2022. 2023, we had 235 total accidents. We had 1 fatality out on the highway, Missouri 13. Top 3 that year, the 83 in Aldrich, which you're seeing a trend. 83 in Aldrich is the number 1 site for accidents every single year. 83 in Aldrich. Then we have the 83 in Jim Sells Drive. That's the gated off drive at SBU, which is just barely north of 83 in Aldrich. And then 83 in Cambridge for number 3. And then I know because 32 in Route D has been a point of concern recently. Well, that came in 4th that particular year. There's a couple of years that it's not on the top 5, but you'll see in the big summary of the last 5 years combined, it ended up being number 2. Then up to 2024, 204 total accidents, no fatalities that year. 83 in Aldrich, number 1. 32 in D came up to number 2 in 2024. And then 83 in San Martin was number 3. And then finally, 2025 is just the to date numbers. We're only 9 months into it, so we've got a quarter of the year left. And we're on track to be probably close to somewhere between 2023 and 2022's numbers if it continues to track in the numbers that it is so far this year.
The fatality, would that be that gentleman that was run over? Would that be considered a pedestrian, or
Yeah, it's
the
fatality-
circumstances were so odd.
Yeah, they were very, very odd, and that was the one out on the highway where the person jumped out of the vehicle in the middle of the highway in the middle of the night and got hit by a tractor-trailer truck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that was our one fatality this year out on the highway, and yeah, definitely that one was very odd circumstances. Top 5 locations to date this year, 83 in Aldrich again was number 1, and then the 32 in Route D came in number 2 with 6 accidents. And 1 injury. And then 83 in South Street was number 3 this year. So the final thing on your page 3, if we put all of that together over the last 5 years and then this year to date, was 1,149 total accidents. I've already covered the fatalities. There were 4 in total in the last 5 years. And then 83 in Aldrich was number 1. Missouri 32 in Route D was number 2. 83 in Cambridge was number 3. And 83 in San Martin was number 4. They had very similar numbers. There were just a few more injuries on the 83 in Cambridge. And then Walmart Commercial Drive in 83 came in 5th.
Questions and comments?
I have a couple questions.
Go ahead, please.
For the the different fatalities on 13, is there information about the locations where on 13 those have taken place, or is it different every time, or do you know if they're
They weren't the same.
okay?
I can dig and give that to you now, or we can.
No, I was
look it up.
just curious if there. I mean, I realize our options are more limited once you get to 13, but I was just curious if we're seeing a trend around that.
They weren't the same place.
We have had quite a few over the years, more recently at 490th.
190th. Okay.
But that's a county road, county access, whole different conversation on this
Sure.
control. We've had.
I can't
would
remember
think of
exactly where
3 fatalities
490th
right
is.
in that intersection area. So.
The substation south on 13, across from the Pitchfork.
Okay, all right. That's right. Our jurisdiction extends
20
Right.
way out there, doesn't it? Okay.
2022, it was 13 and 490th.
Okay.
Twenty. 2023. $2023 was also 490th, so I may have misspoke. Let me find out that last one. And then 2025 was the one with the odd situation.
The other question I had was, given, and this is sort of maybe on a tangential point, given the challenges you had with pulling the data based on how it's listed in your system, do you have any plans to standardize the way accident locations are recorded so that it's easier to know, like you always do east-west by north-south, or I don't know what the best way is to do it, but are there changes that you anticipate?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm
I was
working on
curious. Okay, thank you.
Just an observation, but I think
Go ahead.
it's interesting that the intersection with the most accidents also has stoplights.
That's correct.
So the stoplights are not exactly a fail-safe for accidents.
Well, kind of going on your point, you know, we can put signs up, we can put lights up, we can put stop signs up. Accidents are still going to happen. Yeah. You know, there's nothing that, you know, if we can wave a magic wand like we talked about a long time ago, hey, no more accidents, but people don't pay attention. I mean, the four-way up here is a nightmare half the time because people don't understand how to use a four-way in this town sometimes.
I'm shocked that our square, you know, Broadway and Springfield's not on here.
I mean, you go slow,
Sure,
so
you
your
go
reaction
slow,
time
yeah,
can
I
be,
mean-
yeah.
Well, there were 2 on there last week, so
Okay.
So kind of with that, oh, sorry.
Four-ways are hard enough for Bolivar, but add a turn lane in the mix.
Yeah,
and
6
then
ways is a
it's
lot.
over.
It's a lot. When you got kids in the back seat, 6 ways is a lot to keep track of.
Mr. Sagerser has the floor.
The intersection of Oakland and Broadway, where does it rank? Because there's a lot of close calls.
It wasn't
No, not
even
the top
close to
5.
the top 5. I would have to specifically search for that, and I can give you that answer. It's going to take hours, but I
Sure.
can give you that answer.
I just know there's a lot of close calls there.
Mr. Ross?
All right, so just to clarify, from looking at all these, like, and I know, you know, social media, there's lots of conversations. these are, every single one of these locations are MoDOT controlled locations. Is that correct? So like if the
I would have to
city,
confirm. We've got a lot that are, you know, the big Missouri
and
roads.
so if the city wanted to do like a stoplight at D and 32 or a stoplight at, I mean,
Cambridge.
we can't do another one at Aldridge and 83 because there's already one there. But, you know, to Alderman Ballard's point, that is something that's interesting that we say, hey, let's put a stoplight up there so it'll prevent these accidents. Well, I mean, we don't have a lot of stoplights in town, and one of the locations we do has a majority of our accidents. So, but yeah, I mean, it seems like 83 and San Martin and Aldridge and Cambridge, and that's all Springfield Avenue.
Yep.
So the city can't just unilaterally say, hey, let's throw a stoplight up. You know, here like D and 32, same thing. We've talked about it forever. Now, again, I would still love for a MoDOT representative to come in and explain to us what they need for, you know, like Alderman Sagasser said, Oakland and in Broadway would be a good one. What the qualifications is for them to actually do something other than just hope and pray that we have more near misses and they don't actually make contact with each other. And I noticed, where's it at? 2024, you had Mo 32 and Sunset. I'm assuming is more people go to the pool, the rec center, more things go on that side of town. That intersection is one of those, that weird intersection where you have the turn and you can go, then coming off Fairplace. So yeah, I mean, I would still love to get somebody from ODOT in to see kind of what their qualifications are before we can do something with traffic control on these.
Mr. Wilson.
Chief, and I hate to put you on the spot. So we got the top 5. Even if you put an officer there just patrolling, accidents are still going to happen.
Accidents are absolutely still going to happen, yes, sir.
That's all.
Alderman Price.
Just out of curiosity, it says 83 in Walmart Commercial Drive. Is that the one with the stoplight or one of the other two
I believe that's the
driveways?
one with the stoplight that goes right into their private driveway. Yeah.
Again, a stoplighted
Again, a stoplight.
high accident. Well,
Pike isn't on here. Like that's
Yeah.
another stop. It's not on the list. So that one's working.
There's Albany Buffalo in 83.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm hearing, the subtext here is we need a traffic circle at Aldrich in 83. I jest. I don't know that there's even space there, but I mean, part of why they're moving away from traffic lights, MoDOT is not doing traffic lights as much. I don't even know that they would put them, even if they agreed to slow traffic along one of the state highways. I don't know that they're going to do it with a traffic light. And there's multiple reasons. Some of those are maintenance costs, but some of that is you slow down usually going through a traffic circle because you don't know what's going on exactly, and that little bit of uncertainty and the angles that you intersect other traffic at, you're not getting that T-bone crash. But I wouldn't be surprised if part of what we're going to hear back from MoDOT is the roundabouts are going to, if you want to reduce problems at an intersection, the roundabout's going to be what they pitch.
You think stop signs are hard.
I mean, I'm just telling you. And again, I have no idea what the actual footprint. I know it's a big footprint for one, so I don't even know that would be feasible if people even wanted it. But
know, and
that's what we're talking about at 32
That's one
and D.
thing that I was, and me and Alderman Ballard were talking the other day. A lot of the accidents at 32 and D highway is somebody making a left-hand turn on a D highway, getting T-boned from cars coming west. If there's a traffic light there, both sides are going to have a green light. The car's still going to turn left. The car's still going to, you know, so I don't know that is necessarily, but again, I would love for somebody from MoDOT
Yes.
to come and just explain the process and see if there's any, and I know we've talked about it, the roundabout, there's going to be a roundabout there at D and 32, so hopefully that will eliminate
See how it
those.
goes.
so we're expecting a guest from MoDOT next month.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Comments and questions?
Chief Johns, thank you and your staff.
Yeah, thank you.
Very much.
Thank
for
you all.
this hard work.
Okay. Mr. Lee, wells and septic tank system options, please.
I have one quick question.
Yes, please.
Are we going to talk about these separately, or, because I can talk about one but not the other, same with Alderman Ballard?
Yes, those are going to be eventually handled as.
No, I meant tonight's discussion.
Well, Mr. Lee's going to present based on our findings, and then after that, the board can decide what they want to do as far as
Okay.
discussion.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I will try. You have the details in front of you, so I'll try to be brief in the summary of those. I know everybody's had a chance to see them already, but this is follow up to what the board requested for the staff to do some research and in order to make for more fruitful discussion among the board. I did include the current, the what I consider the most pertinent section there of the current ordinance, and so it's probably important to know that in the starting place, not probably an ordinance that you reference very often, but essentially what that says is that our regulation as it stands right now is anyone who is within 100 feet from their property line to municipal services or to the public service, which would be to water and sewer in this point. If they are within 100 feet measured from the furthest extent of their property line to that service, then they are required to make a connection to that service, whether it be for water or for sewage disposal. So that's what it stands currently. In the requests of the board, we contacted various entities or individuals and groups, and so I've tried to break those out clearly. We did reach out to Missouri Department of Natural Resources, DNR, and they made it clear that private wells essentially are up to the private well drillers and the private, property owners. There are setback requirements. I included that sheet here as the second page that details the setbacks. But again, essentially that's something that private well drillers would detail. Irrigation systems can be drilled both privately or commercially. This is all under DNR's regulations, as long as they meet all the setbacks with no restrictions. However, if there is a well drilled for a commercial setting that has 15 connections or more, or it's a bit of a convoluted, computation, probably doesn't, may not make sense to everyone, but DNR would be the regulating authority there. But if they average 25 people on an average of 60 days out of the year, that is then considered a public water system, and any public water system has to comply with all the daily, monthly, annual testing reporting requirements. Additionally, any new public water system has to receive permission from the higher continuing authority, which in our case is Liberty Utilities, before the installation of a new well. Generally, they also note that there's no funding for private wells if an individual experiences some sort of aquifer issues. There is some federal and state funding out there if a municipal area or something like that experiences something of that nature. So that's details from DNR. Certainly, I'd be happy to clarify any of these if there's follow-up questions. I also reached out to some well drilling contractors, in particular, one that had 20 plus years of experience. He emphasized some things like the financial costs and the impact to a previously built up area is quite significant. Obviously, the normal process for well installation is, in new settings would be prior to construction. He also gave that estimate of $15,000 to $20,000 for new well installation. He did say if setbacks, are met, a well could be installed in existing or new residential or commercial areas, of course, complying with DNR's regulations. He also noted that water quality is no guarantee in well drilling as compared to publicly available systems that are required to go through that standardized testing procedure. And I'll keep charging ahead here, and certainly if anybody has any questions, please let me know here when I'm done. Polk County Health Department, if we shift gears there a little bit to septic or...
would it be possible, because there we have a kind of some complications in the
I think we can stay for this part.
okay.
We're not discussing or making
all right, just for
influencing decisions.
information purposes. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
That'd be great. Thank
All right, go ahead, please.
Sure. So we did reach out at the state level, Health and Senior Services. It seemed best to make that contact through the county, and so we did that with the Polk County Health Department. They handle all permitting for on-site wastewater systems, which is commonly known as a septic system. They gave us some price estimates there that are detailed. They did note that, you know, lots that are less than 3 acres will most commonly require an advanced system, which is the more expensive of the two systems, and they could be denied regularly if access to the public wastewater system is available. And then they noted those other details about the size of a system. If they exceed 7 lots or 3,000 gallons per day, they're automatically referred to DNR and come under additional regulations. I spoke with one person who I would detail as a septic expert. You know, if the board ever in the future had follow-up questions as it relates to on-site wastewater, I'd recommend and could reach out to this individual. He's a biochemistry PhD. He's installed over 14,000 systems and had 16,000 plus inspections. He was extremely knowledgeable. He had told me that he had not experienced a time where septic was installed when a municipal system was available, but he recommends if septic systems are permitted that they be required to be an aerated system. And he explained in detail. So if you like that stuff, it was it was in detail. Explained that an aerated system reduces bacteria output by 80%, and an aerator addition adds roughly $2,500 to the cost of a system. He said if septic is done correctly, it is environmentally better, in his opinion, than a municipal system because there's less bacteria output. Again, that was his opinion. So that really is the summary. I also reached out to other cities and didn't detail all of that here, but essentially you have Nixa, Clinton, Republic, and Ozark all, and Lebanon, all essentially mirroring our ordinances with the requirement to attach to the publicly available. Some of them are a little bit different that are slightly more aggressive. For instance, Ozark requires not, if you're within 100 feet, you have to, actually it's 300 feet. So we say you only have to be 100 feet away from the existing. They say you have to be 300 feet away. So that's a little bit more restrictive. Actually, there's also both Republic and Nixa require the discontinuation of an existing well if the publicly available system comes nearby your, within that 100 or 300 feet of your lot. The city of Bolivar does not have that regulation as it stands. Springfield does allow wells with a very special permitting process that seems to be probably something that limits most commonly that occurring in reality. And Greene County is one that does allow both, and that was one place where that the expert on the septic system said that is a case where he has seen even neighborhoods developed where one street might be the developer may have run publicly available sewage treatment, and then the next street over he may not have run, the person may not have run that, and those folks might be in the same neighborhood where you have some on septic systems, some on a more publicly available system, but that seemed to be more of an issue of developer planning or requirements there. So I think that pretty well summarizes in a quick hit a lot of conversations that we've had. I'd be happy to answer questions if I can. As far as your future action, obviously the board can do whatever they see fit. In this case, as we discussed it with the staff, the things that seem most clearly some of the options for the future would be to obviously take no change or make no change to the current regulation. Another would be to remove the section entirely as far as the requirement or the limitation. The last one is if you do, and I'm basing this off the recommendation from that septic expert, and he did seem very experienced in this area. My recommendation would be if you do modify the septic portion, if you do allow septic systems, I think we should include the requirement for an aerated system. Kimberling City does a similar, they allow, but they require that they be aerated systems. That seemed like a prudent step to take if you're going to allow it at all.
Questions and comments? Alderman Neal.
So I have some clarifying questions that you may not be able to answer, and
Sure.
that's okay. So for example, in the first section there, Missouri Department of Natural Resources, number 4, you need approval from the higher continuing authority, that is Liberty Utilities, before installation of a new well. Do you know if there's any limitation on their approval or denial of that request based on anything, like as long as it
Yes.
doesn't affect negatively their something, or they just are in a bad mood that day, they can just whatever they want?
I do
You know?
think they have quite a leeway
Okay.
in that, and the follow-up question to DNR there was, when have you seen this actually happen?
Right.
And the answer to that was only really in situations like our ordinance already affords, which is you're beyond their coverage area and they just don't want to expend the capital
Sure.
to come to
Okay.
your location. So they didn't have experience of seeing, not Liberty, but any
Right.
higher continuing authority granting someone the right to do it within their coverage
within their service area.
Alexis,
Okay.
can, to that point, can I ask a question real quick? So the way I'm reading it is, so anybody who wants to put a well in has to get approval by Liberty,
No.
or just people with
Public.
15 plus?
Yeah,
or
the
something?
pub-
To
what they
clarify,
call it
it's
public.
that number 3 that
Okay.
when they become the 15 connections or more, or the 25 people averaging
Right.
60
So
days,
like a shared well type situation.
some sort of
Okay.
or a larger commercial. And
Okay. Yeah.
they DNR said essentially all commercial wells, in their opinion, will meet that 25. Now that's for
Yeah.
DNR and that
Sure.
individual to sort out.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
and also to note that doesn't mean an irrigation well. An irrigation well does
Right,
not
public
require
well. Okay.
the
All right. Next question I had on item 6, you have here that the well drilling contractor emphasized the financial cost. That's nice. We don't need to decide for people what they can afford.
Sure.
But the second part there, impact to previously built up areas is significant. I would love to know more about what that means.
Yeah, his concern was just, well drilling equipment is large and
Okay.
has a significant footprint to do the installation.
Okay.
And so what he emphasizes, I don't know if I could even access most built up areas. You've got fences, you've got yards that I'm going to destroy. That was his emphasis was
Gotcha.
on the
Not that the well itself has this major impact on the
No.
neighbors, but
Yeah,
that the
no, 'cause
process of
he's-
installing it is
Correct.
disruptive and involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
That's
And
very
he kind
helpful.
of,
Thank you.
wondered, would he need easements or things
Right.
like that, and that
Right,
kind of
right.
thing.
Okay.
But he did state that if they could meet the setbacks, they could still be done in a built-up area.
Okay. And then number 11, where it says, okay, lots less than 3 acres will most commonly require an advanced system and may be denied if access to public wastewater system is available. Based on what may be denied? Like, again, I'm curious as to what merits a denial versus not a denial. Did you get any information about why?
Not a lot
when?
of clarity
Okay.
there. It seemed, well, it is a fair statement to say that the health department's position was they would not recommend septic systems to be permitted, and that their inclination would be to deny, but ultimately there was not a clear statute reference to
Right.
why they would be or why
Criteria to
some-
qualify
yes,
and all of that. Okay.
exactly. Yeah.
And then the last question that I have for right now is when you, like with regard to the communities that do not have ordinances that look like ours, but that allow more than what we allow. So for example, Springfield, Greene County, and it sounded like Kimberling City. Were you able to get any information about how they think that's going and whether that is a a burr in the saddle for them, whether it's an obstacle, whether it's an annoyance, whether they're like, this is awesome and we love it?
Yeah, in Greene County, I would say it seemed to be more the opinion of, yeah, it happens.
It's
It
fine,
happens
we don't
essentially.
care? Okay.
There seemed to be more in the vein of, yeah, it pretty regularly happens where you have a development that did not plan for or wasn't required or didn't bring the services. So what else are they going to do? So they didn't seem to think that was onerous, to
Okay.
them. I mean, nobody out there was saying we prefer it. We would really want. That obviously it's just would be another item for them. To deal with. Kimberling City. That was more. I spoke with that septic expert. He just was familiar
Okay.
with that. I didn't
Gotcha.
speak with them directly. I read their regulation, and just to confirm what he had said. Springfield, from what I understand, it was hard to ascertain someone who was doing it that hadn't kind of just got pushed off to DNR to go through some sort of specialized, like there's something really unique about this development that you are going to get a well. And that was hard to figure out who's doing that, and I just didn't get a lot of
Gotcha.
good detail there.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes, sir. I read 3 questions, if you don't mind.
go ahead, please.
First one, I just got a text from a constituent. Can you, on number 11, lot less than 3 acres will most commonly require advanced system? Did they give you an ordinance number or anything like that?
I mean, the decision on whether an advanced system is necessary or not is based on the soil test and the engineering design, but that was just their, like I said, kind of at the top of this, the point of this is to be fodder for your discussion.
Sure.
Some of it is certainly, I've tried to be clear that some of it is certainly the opinion. That's why they're in those headings.
Sure.
That's the opinion of that person who brought that. But I will say they're the ones
Doing it.
they're the ones
They're
granting the so they're giving a fair representation of how they interpret those rules.
Inside the city, and I don't know if you know this, but anywhere in the city limits, are those setbacks even feasible?
Oh, for the like are on the
Septics, yeah.
Yeah, actually, if you look at that, the things that within the city, this is setbacks for wells.
Okay.
To be clear, so
okay.
septic systems don't have any setback. That's based on the engineering, the soil test, and then the engineering for the site. And then whether it's an advanced system or things like that. So this is setbacks for wells. But yes, if you look at that, so the ones that are probably the most pertinent are right down at the bottom, starting the first 50 foot. So a well would have to be 50 feet from a septic tank. Okay. A lot of lots probably could do that. And especially if they only had a well, they wouldn't have a septic tank, right? Pit or cistern, that's, wouldn't be very common here. Existing operating well, that would be one that, if you had multiple people placing wells on their property, you could get into that, but most of our lots would probably still have that type of space. And then the one that would be the most restrictive, I would say, the most difficult for existing would be your non-pressurized buried sewer line. So that's your just existing, municipal or public sewage, disposal system. And 25 feet is the setback there. That's not extremely difficult, I wouldn't say. I think it's the mixture of access to the location, but I bet you probably, if you just had an aerial view, you could probably find a spot that is potentially there.
My last question is, so kind of what I'm hearing you say is, we as a city, we're one of 3 hurdles that a person has to go through to get either one of these, because they still have to go through DNR, they still have to go through Polk County.
Well, an individual would not. So an individual, a private well, or an irrigation system well, would not. Their only hurdle, if you want to call it that, is hiring a licensed well driller that will follow the DNR regulations.
Gotcha.
They don't have to require a special permit.
Sure.
So I wouldn't. Yeah, I just want to be clear about
Yeah,
that. There's
no.
not. It's not. That would be their only step, is hiring a qualified contractor that will follow the DNR regulations and do all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Alderman Price.
Yes, sorry, glasses, blind as bat. I lost it now. The authority being Liberty Utilities. Would that be the same as in other areas of utilities, and we could petition the PSC for permission to switch? Because you know
I
Liberty's
don't.
never gonna give up a customer
Yeah,
willingly.
I don't have any. I don't have any knowledge of that. I can just say from what DNR presented is that because they are through DNR's regulations, through the PSC, they are the continuing higher authority in the area, that they have to grant that waiver permission. But they didn't speak to, and that's probably more of like a legal type of a question, whether or not the PSC could grant some sort. I get your question, I just don't know the answer. I suspect not, in the sense that, well, yeah, I don't want to speculate. I don't know what someone could or couldn't, prove to that. That just the way DNR presented it, they didn't offer that as an option. I can say that.
Well, they don't normally deal
Sure.
with
Yeah. There could be.
trying to.
I didn't ask them that either. So yeah, certainly.
Mr. Ross.
So, you of course you gave us a couple options down here, and so like 18, modify the code section to allow wells and stuff. So like if we wanted to go, obviously first conversation is just wells. Let's say we wanted to go, all the stuff on page 4 in our package, they would still have to meet all of those before they could put a well in. It's not like if we
Sorry, what did you page for? I just didn't know what you were
the
referring to.
setbacks.
Sorry. So
Oh yeah.
So even if we said we're going to modify the section to allow wells, they
Yes.
still have to follow.
Yep, that's a
all of
state
those.
regulation.
Yes, so
Yep.
they still would have the state. We would just remove any regulation that we had that.
Yeah, essentially, I mean, and Don could give the best advice, but one way certainly would be you just remove that 100 feet, requirement, which essentially we have a requirement to connect is basically the way it is currently.
So if I were to make a motion, Don, would that just be a motion to modify the code to allow wells?
You certainly could do that.
Is that
I mean,
vague? I mean,
well, we would need to put in some qualifiers. I mean, I would draft the ordinance and bring it back before
Okay.
you. So I would, when I drafted it, I would make sure that the proper language was put in as far as making sure that state regulations or federal regulations.
so before I make a motion, Alexis, you had.
I did have a question. So you mentioned, Kyle, that Nixa, I think you said it was, actually didn't grandfather in
Existing wells.
the existing wells that they
Yeah.
actually
Both
so,
them and Republic. If
So my question is, if we were to take a step like this, and then we ended up later discovering that we didn't like the way it played out, I know that we could always come back later and say, ordinance is amended, again, no new wells, but that makes it sound like we can actually would you condemn? Anyway, that was my question. It wasn't so much for you,
Yeah.
it's for Don. If we allowed people to put in wells and some kind of issue was happening with the aquifer or whatever, and we wanted not just to prevent more wells from being built, but actually wanted to unwind some of that installation from the past, do you have any idea what that would look like? Would that be like an eminent domain public taking kind of thing, or would that be something else?
I think it would be, just off the
Okay.
top of my head. I think we would have a hard time
Hard time doing that? Okay, so as a
without
practical matter,
compensating the
right.
landowner.
So as a practical matter, if we took this step and decided later, what I'm hearing from that is, practical matter, probably we would be looking at only preventing new wells from that point on, not undoing any of the wells that were installed between now and whenever we had misgivings, if we ever did.
my sense in reading that would be that I was very surprised to read
Sure.
that someone was compelling.
I mean, if
and
someone
they
made me
didn't
give up a well,
offer-
I would want to be
yeah.
paid for that too. That seems very
Yeah.
reasonable. So I don't necessarily have a problem with that. But I just so that we know, so that we can think about, because I always think it's helpful for us to remember when we make a decision, we're not making a decision once and for all. We can make a decision and try things, and we can try something different later. But in this case, there would be maybe some limitations on what we can do later.
It would be great. Yeah. So I would I would make a motion to have Don come up with an ordinance to modify our code to allow wells inside the city limits, obviously with the regulations from DNR like Don had spoke about. So I would make that motion.
I would second that.
Water wells, that's probably, that's probably
That
good.
is- Yeah. Yeah, to,
Context.
Water wells,
yeah,
there we go.
to clarify, everything I've spoken about, thank you, Ron, is related to water wells, yeah.
Counselor, does that require a roll call vote or just?
It doesn't require one, but given the fact that we have a quorum, but not full boards, I would probably recommend a roll call vote just so we can be sure that we've got so I know what I need to do, I guess, after
All
tonight.
right. The motion has been made. Do we feel that there's enough clarity in the motion to instruct the counselor to advance this in the way that the board wishes?
And if we don't like how he written it, we can always come back to square.
That's an excellent point. That
Like I say, we're
what
gonna do
they
that.
we will. I suspect that we will probably go through a number of iterations before this is perfected. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Price.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Russ.
Aye.
Sagasser.
Nay.
Raines.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
With 6 yeses, ayes, and 1 no, the motion to have the counselor proceed with the first draft of the ordinance for wells is approved.
Do we want to talk about septics or,
It's on the agenda.
I mean,
Does anyone want to make a
motion Yeah, on that's- any have thoughts?
Nope. I'm a fan of incremental change. I think it makes a lot of sense to try a change and see how it goes. And people know we've discussed this here tonight, and if people in the community feel that this is something that would benefit them, they're perfectly capable to reach out to us and say that they want to see motion on this issue. But I'm fine with just trying it with wells and see how it goes.
And hold off on
Okay.
the septics.
But that's, I'm one person.
Will that be the wishes of the board? It seems that it is. We will proceed with the ordinance for at least first examination. I will entertain a motion for thank you. For the first reading of bill number 2025-57.
First reading.
Second.
Counselor.
This is bill number 2025-57, ordinance number 4079, an ordinance authorizing a memorandum of understanding for the city of Bolivar with the Office of Polk County Central Dispatch for Emergency Operations Cooperation.
Questions and comments from the board?
Chief Watkins, you want to go over this a little bit, just so we kind of have an understanding what it
Okay.
is?
So this is obviously, as we all know, Central Dispatch opened a new facility. It's a storm-rated shelter, and so this is just creating a backup emergency operations center for the city on a facility that would have 24/7 powered support, water, standing, depending on the event. So just another redundancy to make sure that we can continue to operate if anything ever happens to our community.
Second reading?
This is bill number 2025-57, ordinance number 4079, an ordinance authorizing a memorandum of understanding for the city of Bolivar with the Office of Polk County Central Dispatch for Emergency Operations Cooperation.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Sagasser.
Aye.
Russ.
Say Ross.
Russ.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
Price.
Aye.
Raines.
Aye.
By a vote of 7 ayes and 0 noes, we have approved bill number 2025-57. I'm entertaining a motion for the first reading of bill number 2025-58.
First reading.
Second.
Counselor?
This is Bill number 2025-58, ordinance number 4080, an ordinance authorizing a service agreement with United Rentals for the purchase and setup of a prefabricated office trailer for use at the City of Bolivar's Municipal Airport.
Questions and comments?
Where's this being funded out of?
It was in this year's budget, in the airport budget.
I assumed it was coming from airport funding, but I wanted to make sure.
Yep,
Okay.
airport infrastructure there, yep.
Further questions, further comments? I'm entertaining a motion for the second reading of Bill number 2025-58.
Second reading.
Second.
Counselor?
Bill number 2025-58, ordinance number 4080, an ordinance authorizing a service agreement with United Rentals for the purchase and setup of a prefabricated office trailer for use at the City of Bolivar's Municipal Airport.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ross.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Price.
Aye.
Sagasser.
Aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
Raines.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
By a vote of 7 ayes and 0 noes, we have approved Bill number 2025-58. I'm entertaining a motion for the first reading of Bill number 2025-59.
First reading.
Second.
Counselor?
This is Bill number 2025-59, ordinance number 4081, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with Citizens Memorial Hospital for the expenditure of opioid settlement funds to assist CMH with costs of mental health and treatment services for addiction recovery.
Mr. Rutherford.
Yeah, we have not received the signed copy back from CMH yet. They're still going through legal counsel. But they did request that we change the reporting from every other month to quarterly. I don't have an issue with that. So if we could make note of that and go ahead and approve it based on just a verbal recommendation, and we can make those changes and get them to sign that as well.
Do you want a formal
Comments
motion?
and questions?
Did you want a formal motion for that, or just a head nod to make that change?
Counselor?
We probably need to
Amend the.
abandon.
So do you want us to vote down the ordinance for now?
I would say maybe not give it a second reading.
Okay.
We're good at that.
And Thomas, is this, if we brought this back at the next meeting, are we still good time-wise?
Perfectly fine.
Okay.
What issues are they having legally?
Nothing,
still
just
looking
just the reporting,
Okay.
4 times a year opposed to 6.
Okay.
I mean, that's fine.
Okay.
We're going to get the information we need.
Okay. So we will then move on to,
You're gonna ask for a second reading.
Ask for the second reading.
And then we just all be quiet and then you move on.
okay, should I ask for, entertain a motion for a second reading? Seeing none, we will table the item or just simply move
fails, yeah.
on. Maybe we just drop it.
Just, yep.
Okay, I'm entertaining a motion for us to go into executive session.
I move we go into executive session pursuant to RSMO 610.021, subparagraph 1, legal actions, cause of action, or litigation involving a public governmental body and any confidential or privileged communications between a public governmental body or its representatives and its attorney. RSMO 610.021, subparagraph 3, hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of particular employees by a public governmental body when personal information about the employee is discussed or recorded. And RSMO 610.021, subparagraph 13, individually identifiable personnel records, performance ratings, or records pertaining to employees or applicants for employment.
I'm entertaining a motion for a second.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Wilson.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Raines.
Aye.
Sagasser.
Aye.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Price.
Aye.
By a vote of 7 ayes and 0 noes, we will now go into executive session, and I will declare as the chair of this a 5-minute recess.
Mr. Mayor, you might just tell everybody in the meeting that we will have a separate recording of after this is done.
It'll be a separate file?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, there will be a recording of the, we will return to a open session, and that session will continue recording.
It'll be a new stream.
It'll be a new stream.
Sure.
Okay.
Thanks, Brent.
Thank you.